Hi, this is Taryn Lewis here with the Festival Voice. Today we're here with Leah Culver to talk about some of her favorite fan experiences and to get to know her a little bit better. First off, I'd like to take the chance just to say thank you for meeting with us and speaking with us. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks.
You're welcome. So tell us, what have been some of your favorite fan experiences?
I think one of my favorite fan experiences was something that happened like just a few weeks ago, where a girl came up to me after a show and she was crying, and she told me that like my music had like really affected her and helped her stay. You know what I mean? And it broke my heart at the same time, but I was just like, wow, that's really crazy, because you don't really think about that you can affect people when you're making music. Well, at least I don't really think about it to that level, and so when you see it in person, it's just really crazy. It's really important to maybe consider that when making music.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely got to be really cool to know that you can really touch your fans and make an impact in their life like that. So obviously when you're at festivals, you don't play all day. So when you're done playing, do you ever go into the crowd? Do you mingle? What do you do?
I actually really like to go into the crowd and play with people and frolic about. I like to go check out everyone's sets, and that's usually pretty inspiring. So yeah, I think it's really fun to go meet new people and, frolic about.
So you have to run into fans that recognize you, and when that happens, what do you do? Do they ask for pictures, stuff like that?
Yeah, and I'm just grateful that they care.
That's awesome. So let's talk about some of the performances. Do you prefer to play the big festivals and the big crowds, or do you like more of the smaller, intimate crowds and venues?
I've played a lot of both, and I feel that when I get those when I get a small crowd, it's almost even, I'm going to say even more special, but it can definitely be a totally different experience. When you're just like with a small group of people. I give the same show if it's like 7,000 people or 4. So it's just really kind of cool to see people up close like that when it's smaller. But yeah, for me, I feel less nervous on the bigger crowds. For some reason, I feel like that's a little less scary. Maybe because peer pressure amongst the crowds, like if they're all going crazy, then peer pressure, they'll all be happy. But with smaller crowds, they can be tougher to win over just because psychologically people are not as quick to want to be the one out there dancing by themselves necessarily. It's really interesting to watch, just like psychologically. But yeah, I appreciate both experiences.
That's really awesome. So what is your favorite festival or show that you've played, or venue?
I would say, I have to say Imagine Festival, because it's like my family. It's always really cool to come back here, and I make it a point to try and do it bigger every single time. And I feel like that's getting trickier now once you've brought a kids choir and like an orchestra and things, so I don't know. But I think Imagine Festival is amazing just because I've gotten to watch it from the ground up, and I mean like from the ground up, like since before they were doing Iris and everything, and just Glenn and Maddie are probably one of the 2 most inspiring people I've ever met. But yeah, I feel like that and the Tabernacle, that was like a big goal for me, like being from Atlanta and going to those shows, that was really important to me. So yeah.
Yeah, the Tabernacle is a really cool venue. I've been there a few times too. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about you, where you're from, what kind of hobbies do you have outside of this, how old you are, those kinds of things?
Okay. Well, I'm a stripper. Just kidding. I'm not a stripper. I should never say that again. I make a lot of art. I paint. I like to go hiking a lot. I live in California, in LA now, but I'm from Atlanta, ride or die, my baby Atlanta. But I grew up in Atlanta, and so it's really important to me. There's so many more trees here, and I need trees to feel like happy. I didn't realize that like when I got to LA that there's no trees, and I couldn't put my finger on what was wrong, and then I came back to Atlanta and was so overwhelmed by the trees. But we have a lot of oxygen here. Yep, I don't remember the question, but yeah, I do. I paint and I like to go outside.
awesome. So, do you have a big family, small family, lots of brothers and sisters? Do they support your music career?
Yeah, I have a very large family, and they're also supportive, and that's so like crazy and lucky. I feel to have a family that supports it, because I hear so many times that people are like, no, don't do music, go to college, and you should definitely go to college, by the way. But yeah, it's cool to have a supportive family. Like my mom's coming tomorrow, which is cool. My dad has not seen me play, but he promises next year he will. I don't know if he will, but he's still supportive, and it's really cool to. All the people in my family are musicians, so it's kind of expected, I guess.
That's really cool. So, what kind of musicians, what kind of music does your various family members play?
Lots of band-oriented musicians. So, like, my oldest brother is a drummer. My middle brother plays, like, everything, but he's also, like, a producer and DJ. And then my mom, she can play a lot of things, but she plays the bagpipes and the drums and stuff, which all growing up, bagpipes was not, like, a fun thing to listen to her practice, you know, as she's getting good at it. Like, the whole neighborhood had to listen to that. And then like everyone else in my extended family is all into music as well, singers, musicians. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your past. What brought you to this point in becoming a DJ?
I feel like my brother John influenced me a lot to want to be a DJ as a younger person, kind of more before I actually got in the scene, just like seeing him come back from like foam parties when I was like 5. When you're 5 years old and you see your brother come back in these big trip pants covered in like wet foam, like it's like he's mostly just soggy, but there's like some residue. I remember asking him, he came through the living room, I was like, where did you come from? And he told me he came from a room full of bubbles, and to me that was like, oh my god, I want to be a DJ. And I was like 5, just wanting to be in a room of bubbles. But oh, what got me here? I'm sorry. I feel like I've always done music. I played guitar and drums and wrote songs. I was mostly inspired by like bands like Paramore and Panic at the Disco, who still inspire me. And so I just kind of fell into DJing, and it landed me here with Maddie and Glenn, and now we're like 7 years later, and we're here.
That's really awesome that you play all those various instruments. I wish I could play instruments.
You can't.
I've tried. Piano is about as far as I got.
Piano's a tricky one.
Yeah. Okay, so how old were you when you went to your first concert or festival, and who did you go see?
That's a great question. I think my mom took me to see like Heart, like, you know, that 80s band, female duo, when I was like really young, and I remember, to be honest with you, not having a good time. But I think I was like maybe like 8, and it was like an adult party that she was with, and I think I was just bored. But Heart's rad, so I should have been more appreciative.
So what was the first festival you ever attended?
EDC in Vegas was the first one. You know what's crazy? Actually, like maybe 5 days ago, I just met Pascal Rotella out in LA at Nocturnal, and he's the nicest man. And I just like went up to him and was like, I didn't want to make it a big thing. I was just like, I just want to tell you I appreciate you for what you do and like for what you've created for everyone. Like, it's really cool. Because I was just watching him watch the whole experience. I was like, this is so cool. He's such a nice person. But yeah, EDC Las Vegas, which I think is the biggest production ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I was at EDC Vegas this year as well. And the production and everything that goes into it is just absolutely phenomenal, for sure. Okay, so what is one thing that most people don't know about you?
Let me think. I really, really, really don't like flies. I really don't like flies. I mean, no one likes flies, but like I have a history. Never mind. Something people don't know. I just got nominated for Student of the Year at Icon Collective. No one knows that yet. Hopefully I get it. There's like 4 kids out of the whole year that get nominated. Icon Collective, if you're not familiar, is a music production school in Burbank in LA. Some people's favorite artists went there, like some of my favorite artists, like Slander and Nightmare and Yultron. I'm going to forget a few, I'm sure, but it's a dope school. And if you're interested in music production, you should go there. But yeah.
That's awesome. So what's one piece of advice that if you could tell your fans that you would say to them?
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who tell you that you can't do something. And I think it's you're the only person that can or can't decide that you can or can't. And so it's really important to just kind of root yourself and feel yourself and decide what you want to do. And I think there's a lot of new artists coming up, and it's like intimidating at a time where it's so saturated, but I mean, you just have to do it because you can. If someone else can, so can you. With anything and everything, if you just put the time into it, you're gonna do it. If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. So I think that's my advice, and this is yours.
So I noticed you have a few tattoos. So which one is your favorite, and when did you first get your first tattoo?
I woke up yesterday with all these tattoos. I woke up in Vegas. I was covered, and I don't know who I am anymore. My first tattoo, okay, so I think I have probably about 30. I don't actually know the answer, but what was my first one? It's probably some really crappy one. It was, okay, so it's like, I don't know if you can see it, it's this Nuit. This one I did myself when I was 14, because no one would tattoo me, so I did it myself.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like this one. I love all the color. It's really beautiful. That's awesome. So is there anything else that... Go ahead, keep going. Is there anything else that you would like to share with your fans?
I think that, I've got a lot of new music coming out that I've been working on. I've been working on 2 EPs, a lot of tour dates coming up, and a lot more collaborations with people, a lot more features, and you can expect a lot more evolution in my shows coming up, as far as like what I'm bringing to the table live-wise. But yeah, I think that's all. Yep.
Awesome. Well, we definitely look forward to hearing the new EPs and finding you on tour in various cities. So I guess the last thing I want to say is thanks for talking with us. We really appreciate it. It's been great getting to know you.
Thank you.